LinkedIn account. And that was it. I just had a LinkedIn account. I knew if I was going to be in a job search mode, I needed to know a little bit more about LinkedIn. So I heard this guy. And for a CPA, I thought, this guy, he's actually an interesting speaker, which is unusual. I'm a CPA. I'm a recovering CPA myself, so I can say those kinds of things. So I'm trying to figure out what to say to introduce Wayne. I thought, well, I'm going to go to his LinkedIn profile and just start reading this whole page.
Oh boy, that'll take a long time.
Yeah, I won't do that. Let me just go with this. Wayne is a social media trainer, speaker, consultant. He's written a book, LinkedIn Success Power Formula, and it's been one of the #1 sellers. If you type in LinkedIn and Amazon, I know in the past it's been one of the top hits that you'll get back. So if you want information about LinkedIn, Wayne is probably as good an authority as you can get. Probably knows more about LinkedIn than the people who created LinkedIn in terms of really how to use it. But without taking up any more time, why don't you come up here?
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Charlie. Hi, everybody. Hi. So good to see everybody. I'm sort of glad you're here, but I'm not as well. I do about... You tell me what I got to do. We'll get this right. I got people here. My people will take care of this. But I'll wait till I get the A-OK from
keep talking.
the boss. Okay. So like I said, I'm happy, but I'm not happy that you're here, because when I do these events, and I only do job seeker events now at churches that will have me and that have jobs ministries. I'm going to be in Indianapolis next month, so if you know any friends there, I'll be there. So I do 6 or 7 of these a year. I teach companies mostly how to use LinkedIn, people and organizations and sales teams and HR people and all that. But when it comes to job seekers, I've trimmed that back to just the churches that will have me across the country. And on my way, I always pray that you won't be here, right? Because if you're not here, then you're all working, So I'm saddened by the fact that you're here, but I'm encouraged too, because God put us here together tonight for this opportunity for me to share with you and hopefully show you a few things that will help you find that next great job. I mean, that's my hope. And so when I have another one of these in Milwaukee 3-4 months from now, maybe you show up and say, I just stopped in to say hi. I'm not staying because I'm pretty busy. My job is great, and LinkedIn helped me find it. So that's always my hope and prayer, that you will not be here, but you're here, and so let's get rolling. I got a lot of things to cover. Just a few more minutes about myself. So 5.5 years ago, almost 6 now, I joined LinkedIn. And I was dead against this stuff. I was 50 years old, and I thought it was the silliest thing I'd ever seen. Having a profile on the internet, people bothering me, wanting to connect, it just, nothing felt right about it. And I remember looking at my daughters who were on Facebook and all this stuff and going, I'm pretty sure all this stuff's for you guys, huh? Dad shouldn't get in your way and be playing in the sandbox that's all set for you guys. And so I'll try to stay out of it. And I did. I stayed out of it for the longest time. But I owned an office furniture dealership at the time. And we were in our second recession of my ownership. I bought the company in 2002, recession. Came out of it a little bit, 2008, recession. I remember looking at my partner and going, oh, this has been a lot of fun. 2 recessions in 6 years. We aren't making enough money to pay for all the colleges we got to pay for. I got 3 kids. He had 3 kids. They were all in colleges, And I said, what are we going to do about this? He said, I don't know. I'm out of ideas. I said, oh, that's pretty encouraging too. And so we were like the 2 vultures on the Jungle Book. I don't know. What are we going to do? I don't know. What are we going to do? And that's how we felt, And it was at that time that I had a really good friend who came up to me after church and would poke me in the chest and go, why aren't you on LinkedIn? I say, because I don't want to be. Then don't complain about business. Don't say business is bad if you're not going to try something new to try to make business better. And I said, Todd, I'm glad you have a new little friend called LinkedIn. And I'm glad you like the computer. And I'm glad you think this stuff's all cool. I think it stinks. I said, I have no interest. I hate the computer. Blah, 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 blah. Well, one day I finally broke down in a hotel room in Holland, Michigan. where I was over there. That's where Hayworth is, the company that we sell the furniture for. And I had a couple hours on my hands in the hotel room before he had to go to one more meeting, before he drove back all the way from Holland, Michigan to Milwaukee. And I thought, I'll try this dumb thing. Because I thought to myself, because I'm in a hotel room and I'll never have to admit it. I remember that. That was I'll try it, I'll never admit it. Because I'm sure after 25 minutes I'll go, see, it was stupid. I always knew it. I'm the smart guy. It's stupid. Well, 25 minutes turned out to be just the opposite. It was pretty cool. For selling office furniture, I could just see the connection between that. Well, one thing leads to another, and I started speaking all over Milwaukee about LinkedIn, and so there was a hunger for the knowledge of LinkedIn, how to use it. And I was just rolling with it. My partner said, keep talking. What else you got to do? Right? Business is half of what it was. You got half the beans to count in the bean counting office. Get your butt out there and try to make some friends and see if they buy some furniture from us. And if LinkedIn is your way to be in front of an audience, good for you, go get them. And I did that. And I just thought I'll just keep doing this because someday somebody's going to remember the bald guy that taught him LinkedIn and go, don't we need some new cubicles? Call that bald guy from LinkedIn guy. He was such a nice guy. That's what I was just hopeful of, right? Well, it was at the end of that year when my wife finally came to one of my events. 105 events now on top of my day job. I was gone a lot. And she sat back in the corner there. And I said, we got in the car and I said, so honey, how'd you like my class? It's the first time you've seen me teach. And I think she came just because she thought I had a girlfriend. Never home, right? And she said, well, it was sort of a bunch of crap. And I said, why was it a bunch of crap? I said, don't you think people were learning? Oh, no, they were learning. They were taking notes. They were taking in. The learning part wasn't the problem. I said, well, why did you think it's a bunch of crap, though? She said, I didn't like how you would hold up those books. Because I had bought a couple of books on Amazon that I learned from. And at the end of my talk, I would always go, I taught you everything I know. Go buy one of these books. Have a nice life. That's how I close it out. She said, I wish you wouldn't do that because those people will buy those books, those 2 books. I said, well, I'm just trying to help people. And she said, why don't we write a book? Huh? Write a book? Me? You know how I write. She says, oh yeah, I know how you write. That's where I come in. And we had just sent our last daughter off to school. And so we went on this journey of writing a book together. And I would dictate a chapter every week, and she'd type it and fix it. And on Saturday morning, we'd fight. I mean, every Saturday we'd fight. Now, I hated that part, but we always made up on Saturday night. That was the nice part, you know. I sort of liked that part. But it was like every week we fought about the stupid book. But she kept pushing. We're finishing this thing. We're going to do it. And sure enough, book comes out. In 6 weeks, it becomes the #1 selling book on LinkedIn on Amazon. And at that time, there were 20 books out there. We passed up LinkedIn for Dummies like that. And now we sold 75,000 books later. And this is what I do for a living full time. And long story short, I tell you that story because I think there's still a lot of people in the space that I was in saying it's stupid, I don't get it, what's going on. And it usually is generational. Okay? I mean, I teach a class at colleges. And this is not weird to them, right? Profiles, communication, sharing. This is not weird. They get it because they do Facebook. But what they have as a disadvantage that you have as an advantage are the 2 of the 3 things that I call the power formula for LinkedIn success. And that's this. And it's not a big forehead. What this is experience. And they don't have experience. They're 19, right? We have this. And what this brings us is the 2 things that makes LinkedIn go. Relationships and stories. Experiences. They don't have either. Right? They look at me like, Mr. Breitbarth, you want me to have connections on LinkedIn? I'm 19. Where am I supposed to get connections? It's sort of true. It's hard for them. But in this room, we know a lot of people. And we have a lot of stories to tell about our experiences. Same thing there. Like, Mr. Breitbarth, I don't understand stories I'll tell. I'm still not out of school. What could I put on my profile that makes me look interesting? Well, we have a lot of stories. So this tool is really made for you. It's made for us. Because it only goes with those 2 things. And over a weekend, you can do LinkedIn. You can get a copy of my book and say, this is the weekend. He finally got me. And by Monday, you're ready to go. It's only a 2-hour read, and then you work through the stuff I did. But you know what? Over a weekend, the students can't get it right. Because they can't get all the relationships we have in a weekend. And they can't make up stories about experiences they don't have. Now, I don't sell many books when I go to colleges because they don't need help with this thing. Oh, I don't need any book. I just click it and then it does this, and I click it again and it does this, and this. We don't need a book. So the power formula is unique experiences, unique relationships, plus a tool like LinkedIn is the power of the whole thing. And it's the third thing that you're getting hung up on, not the first two. The first two, if I sat down with you got great stories to tell, lots of great relationships, and that's what makes it go. But you get hung up on the tool because it's new and different and all this stuff that I shared with you at the very beginning. So tonight I hope you're going to look at it just a little bit different. And by the end of this night, as a job seeker, and that's how I'm going to approach it tonight, that you'd start doing LinkedIn with a purpose and a strategy. Okay? Purpose and a strategy. Don't just be like most people when they go, "Hi Wayne, I see you teach LinkedIn." "Well, I have one." "What's one?" "Oh, I have a LinkedIn." That's nice. What's it doing for you?" "Doing? Supposed to do something?" "Well, it is a business site after all. Is that helping you?" "Oh, not really. I'm just connecting with my college friends and stuff." "Oh, that sounds fun. Didn't even like them in college, and now you got to connect with them?" "Oh, yeah." That's not a purpose or a strategy. You should have a purpose or a strategy. Now, raise your hand if you have a LinkedIn account. Okay, think about where that was, Charlie. When I started teaching 5 years ago, the whole room wouldn't have had an account. They got an account now. That's good. You got one. All right? So tonight I'm going to help you take your one and try to be more strategic and purposeful as it relates to your job search, okay? All right, now, we got some ground rules here. I'm going to get in your face tonight. This is a church, place of God. I won't go that far to make him mad, but I'm going to try to encourage you tonight because I don't want to see you again. The next time I see you is when you come to one of my classes because you're working and the company you're working for wants to send you to one of my classes so that you can help the company sell more and do more and find more employees or whatever your job is at that next great company, right? So I'm going to be very passionate about this. Don't take it personal. I love you, and I mean that, and I want you to find a job. But I get tired of seeing people time and time again who have seen me 4 times at job seeker events. And I'll go, "You look familiar to me." "Oh yeah, I've been here every year, every November, for the last 5 years. So you don't have a job yet?" "No." "Let's just take a look at your profile." Now, one thing that I taught from the previous 4 years, I said, and you expect something to happen. Look, you're like a groupie showing up to see Wayne. I mean, you got better things to do than that. You got to do this stuff. So I'm going to show you stuff that you got to do. Specific steps that you need to take. All right? Because there are specific takes. Just having one isn't going to do it. Right? That's not purpose or a strategy. So, all right. So everybody got handouts? If you don't have handouts, you need one. Raise your hand. There's handouts. Can you guys help? Anybody missing handouts? You need those. Everybody got them? You don't have any handouts. We need some handouts right up here in front. If you could help, that'd be great. Anybody else? Perfect. Cool. All right. So tonight's talk is the 10 steps to your next. Now, you're probably really nervous about me. Sitting here in the front thinking I'm going to. And by the way, I'm sort of caged in here tonight because my friend Rick's doing the video recording, which will be helpful to you. You'll be able to go to YouTube and rewatch this whole thing because I go fast. And I go fast. I don't slow down. You'll be able to pause it, rewatch it. It'll be perfect. We got to thank Rick for that. Give him a hand. You're just here volunteering. Because of his videos, there's people all over this world watching my presentations. I send people to him all the time. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate that. Okay, so 10 steps. I'm going to hopefully cover them all. I might even have an 11th or 12th. I got 11 or 12 written down, actually. First step. I'm not going to spend a real lot of time on the first step. I don't think. Oh, I might spend a little more time than I think. Number 1, profile requirement. Okay, here's the deal. You got to get your profile in order. What's that mean? You got to think about these 2 things as you're working on your profile. Write these 2 words down. Keywords, stories. Keywords, stories. Most people in this room suffer from keyword deficiency. That's a disease. But the good news is you got Dr. Breitbarth here. And I'm an expert at clearing up keyword deficiency. You have to purposefully put your keywords in your profile in the right spot spots a whole bunch of times. And we'll go into some of that detail. But number 2, that's one of your problems on your profile. Your second problem is there are just not enough stories. What I mean by that? I mean that your profile looks like a resume. Right? Anybody ever read a resume and find it interesting? Oh, I'm an accountant and I do Excel. Ooh, that's very special. You're kidding me. You do Excel? Like, I don't think I've ever met an accountant that does Excel. I can't wait to interview you. You're first on the list. Wrong. But that's the stuff we have on resumes. And it's all bullet points and it's dates. It's not interesting at all. Your LinkedIn profile is a place for you to be interesting and be better than the other people that are in the stack of 300. That's about what HR people tell me. It's about 300. 300 apps for every job. So I don't know how big a 300 stack is, but I think it's pretty big. You got to be more interesting than those other 299, don't you? Right? That's how you got to be. And if your LinkedIn profile looks like a resume, and some of those other 299 have listened to me tonight and make their profile more interesting, guess what? No phone call. Because they just pass on you. And you go, well, look, I got my resume stuff on there. That ain't enough. You can do a better job of telling your stories. So what kind of stories are you going to tell? They're not bedtime stories. They're stories about what you've accomplished and why you're worthy of being hired. You got to tell me. I'm the reader. I got 300 here, and I'm looking to find somebody that I want to put in the yes pile for a phone call or the maybe pile and not get shoved over to the no pile. They're looking to throw people in the no pile. It's faster, right? No, no, no. Maybe. Yes. No, 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 no. And look, that's what they're trying to do. Okay? And if they don't see very much, sometimes there's not much to read. It's a pretty quick no. So I'm going to show you some spots you got to tell your stories. Your stories have to be engaging to me. They have to be interesting. They have to be the reason you're going to get hired. Before, when we had a 1 or 2 page resume, you had no room for stories. You didn't have to worry about stories. You said, well, I got all the boxes. Look, I got the smallest little type I can put on it. But you never had to write paragraphs about who you were, what you've accomplished, and how interesting you are, and the skills that you've gotten from all your jobs that you have. Okay? So writing becomes a little more critical than you ever wanted it to be. And I know that freezes some of us up. Me too. I mean, if I didn't have my wife as my editor, I'd be scared to death. So if you're not a very good writer, you need help. You're going to need to get some help from somebody that's a pretty good writer or a better writer than you are. And use Word and do spell checking and grammar and all. You got to do that because if there are typos and stuff in your profile, that's a throw out too. Okay? So, and the other thing that a profile that just looks like a resume shows the HR person is, this isn't a very good LinkedIn profile. So I'm assuming they're a dinosaur. You are a dinosaur. And I don't want to hire any dinosaurs. If they have a really good profile, they go, wow, look at this. She looks like, I can tell by she's in her 50s. It could be a little dinosaur-y, but wow, look at this profile. Look at how well she does LinkedIn. Maybe she's not such a dinosaur. Look at that. She's got a handle on LinkedIn, I can tell. And I'm just being gut level honest with you, okay? We're not messing around here tonight with all happy things. I'm trying to really explain what's going on. They are judging you. And if you're trying to get a sales position, okay? You're trying to get a sales position, and you come waltzing in on your profile with 85 connections, I can tell you what the HR people think about that. That's a no. Why? If I could sit in front of them and tell them all the stuff I sold. Well, you won't get a phone call. You won't be able to explain. They'll just go, 85 connections? And they claim to be a salesperson? How can that be? How can they only have 85 connections if they've been selling stuff? Isn't selling about relationships? Evidently you don't have very many. I don't have time for you. That's a no, right? See, what you're not realizing, they don't have all day to go, well, let me just look 3 more times at this one. There's probably something there that's a little better than the 85, but I'm not sure. No, they move on. And they try to use all the information they can read about you, whether it's on your your resume, or more importantly, your LinkedIn profile, to try to gather information to see if you should be in the maybe pile. And now, since we have a great tool like LinkedIn where we can talk more about ourselves than we ever could, you need to, because the other people are, right? And so we got to just flush out the stories. I know you all have great stories. If I sat down with you and said, tell me about your experience, I know you could do it. So it isn't that you don't have the stories. You might just get stuck between telling your stories and writing them down so they sound good in our paragraph form or whatever. So all I can say about that is make sure you get some help. I know they'll help you here. They will help you with this kind of stuff at Crossroads Career Network. That's what they do here. So these people will help you do some of that stuff if you need that kind of help. Okay? All right, so keywords and story. And we'll talk a lot about both of those as we start to move through this thing. Okay. Raise your hand if you have more than 200 connections on LinkedIn. Good. How many of you have more than 300? Good. How many of you are 500 plusers? Better. Okay, here's the deal, my friends. You might want to write this down. Connections are the gas in the tank on LinkedIn. Okay? Connections are the gas in the tank on LinkedIn. The more gas you have, the further you're going to go. No questions about it. Now, some gas is 93 octane, and some gas is 87 octane. And some people aren't worth connecting with because they live in Bangladesh. Okay? If they live in Bangladesh and they want to connect with you, that ain't good gas. That ain't even gas. So I'm not saying that you should just fill up your tank with every person that wants to connect with you. That's not a strategy. That's not a strategy. But if you only have 150 or 250 connections, and maybe only 50 of those people are in your industry or work at the companies you'd like to go work for, then you got a problem. So you got to try to make connections in the places you'd like to be employed. And places being maybe a physical building, but places could be an industry, could be in your town, right? You got to sort of define the kinds of places you'd like to be at and where you'd like to work, and then that'll help you do your connections. Some of those connections are going to be better than others, 93 octane, and some are going to be 87. But some of them are going to just be silly. If you get an invitation from somebody halfway around the world, and you don't want to work halfway around the world, and you look at their profile and there's nothing on their profile, guess what? That's a spam machine. That is not even a real person, and they just want your email address so they can start sending you stuff. People do bad things with tools like LinkedIn if they can, right? So you don't connect with them. That has nothing to do with what you got going on. But your strategy has to be to consistently grow your network strategically. And I'll show you how the search engine works and why that's important. Okay? All right, so profile, here's the deal. You got to know how to put your profile together with keywords and stories. The book's going to act like a workbook. If you don't have a copy of my book, you should pick one up tonight. It's $10. It's the only time I sell it for $10. My wife will kill me, all right? Or go to the library. I don't care. You need a guide of how to go through all the profiles and the sections in the profile. We don't have time for that tonight. We have to do too many other strategic things to go section by section, and this is what you do. The book will do that for you. You got to borrow a copy or buy a copy or go to the library, okay? You need that kind of step-by-step help. At least I did when I had those 2 books, right? Without those 2 books, I wouldn't have known what to do. I needed to have somebody sitting on my shoulder going, oh, this is what this section's for and how you're supposed to do it. All right? Okay. So we're going to talk about, we'll talk more about the profile, but I just can't go through each section. But there are some things that we better talk about. The top level things that you might be messing up on. Picture. Picture's not optional. Okay? If somebody sees your profile and it doesn't have a picture, trust me, I talk to HR people and recruiters all the time. They don't think you exist. They don't think you're in the game for real. They don't look at you. You're in the no pile. I'm sorry. I know what you think. Some of you are thinking, well, they can tell by the picture I'm 58. That's bad. I said, you know what? You're going to be 58 when you walk in the room for the interview, aren't you? How long are you going to fool them? Right? You're going to go in with a mask on? So the point is this. If they're going to discriminate, they're going to discriminate, aren't they? Flush it out right up front. They don't want to call you because you look old? Fine. You want to get a chance to get in front of them to explain how this means something to them and it's going to be good for them. right? That your experience, yeah, I'm 58, but just you talk to me. I'm pretty good. I'll show you why I'm going to save you a lot of money than the 22-year-old you might hire. I've been around the block a few times, right? But you got to get in front of them for that. And if they want to be discriminatory, they're going to be. You got to get a picture, and it's got to be a recent photo, not the high school photo, okay? And I know some of you think if you have no photo, you'll be 29. You're not going to be 29. Like I said, you're going to walk in the interview. You got to be who you're going to be. You can't fool around with that, okay? Your profile's got to be done all-star as rated by LinkedIn, okay? All-star rating. Where's the all-star rating? You probably don't even know if you are or not. I'll show you where that's at. So when you're on your own profile, it's right here. Okay? Got to make sure you're all-star. How do you become all-star? I don't know. The sad thing is, LinkedIn used to do percentages. Remember in the good old days? 85%, 5% more here, if you're good, you get your 100. They took away the 100, they added this thing. And they haven't officially told us what it takes to be all-star. But I'm pretty sure. You do the stuff in the book, you'll be super all-star. All-star is not that good. Don't be proud of that. The reason I'm telling you it's important is because it's important in the search engine. LinkedIn has said it's part of the search algorithm, and we put people near the top of a search when they're all-star, or one of the factors, right? Now, don't worry about that circle filling up. You engineers in the room, don't send me emails. Hey, Wayne, just that little sliver at the top. I've been trying the darndest to get that bugger filled up. It don't fill up. It doesn't fill up for me, right? I mean, look. So you're either beginner, intermediate, expert, or all-star. It's just 4 chunks, right? And it's not hard to be an all-star. If you aren't, just do a few things we talked about tonight and you'll be there. Or go Google how to be an all-star, and there are people guessing all the time. I could guess as good as anybody else, but I'm not sure, so I'm not going to try to mislead you. But it's not that hard. Okay. Here's something I just learned today as I was preparing for today. The search engine is going to be helped if you include a job entry, your current job entry, if you're not employed. Now, okay, not stealth job seekers, unemployed. You need to list a job title that says something like sales rep pursuing dealer sales and distribution opportunities at future great company. You need to have a current job entry, and it should say something like that. That's a sales one, right? Sales rep pursuing dealer sales and distribution opportunities, or accounts receivable person looking for accounts receivable opportunities at next great company. So that's a current job entry for you, right? Then you got your older ones that are past. That'll be your current job entry. Sounds like the search engine likes you to have that on your profile, okay? So you need that. Now, that title that says sales rep pursuing dealer sales and distribution opportunities should include some of your most important keywords. That's first, don't just say sales guy. That's not a keyword. Distribution is a keyword, right? Dealer sales is a keyword. Sales rep sort of is a keyword, okay? So we'll talk a little bit more about keywords in a second. So I guess you need that. That sounds like it's important. Now, some people always ask, a lot of people will ask me in a class like this, well, some people told me not to say that I'm unemployed on there. Well, I wouldn't use the word unemployed. But I don't think I would hide it either. That statement doesn't hide it, does it? It says dealer pursuing, using the word pursuing. It sounds better than being unemployed. Would I put those words in my headline? And the headline is right below your name, right next to your face? Probably. Same thing. I probably would use those words. Pursuing, searching, looking. I don't think I'd use the word unemployed, but it's the same thing, but it just sounds a little nicer. Some people say, well, I shouldn't do that because it shows that I'm unemployed. Well, you are. Right? I mean, the bottom line is you are, and if your profile says you are, then maybe your friends will see it and they'll help you, right? They'll be able to see. If they don't see it, they might go, well, she's fine. It looks like she still shows her job there. You told me she's unemployed. She says it says through present her last job. Well, it's not going to help. Your network's not going to know what's up. So I tend to lean towards the other way. Tell the truth. The truth will set you free, right? Okay. Let's talk about keywords. Let's jump into this keyword conversation. Get the worksheet out. Everybody's got a keyword worksheet. It's one of the handouts tonight. Keywords are a foreign idea to most of us. We didn't grow up on this stuff. It's weird. Keywords, what's a keyword? Okay? LinkedIn is a search engine, that's all it is. It's just this big honking search engine with 332 million people in it that people like employers can use to search and look for you. But the way they search and look for you is they use keywords. Simple as that. They're cutting corners and using keywords. So you've got to know what keywords you think that you should be, that you're being found by. This worksheet will help you. You fill in the bottom of the first page and the top of the second page, and then you put your keywords in the spots with the bullet points on the top. Okay? So, how do you do that? You do that as you tell your stories. So I don't want to just go in there and go, marketing, comma, marketing, comma, marketing, comma, marketing, comma. That's not the way to do it. The way to do it is if you think marketing is a keyword for you, you include that as you tell your stories. I've had lots of marketing jobs. I was the VP of marketing. I mean, you continually use the words. And the deeper, the more niche you can get, the better. So if you've been involved in email marketing and you want a job in email marketing, then that's even better than just say marketing, right? Because you have experience in email marketing. And that's how the HR people are going to do. They're going to go email marketing, Milwaukee, and they get a big list. And I'll show you how that's going to work in a second. You've got to work on your keywords because you're probably suffering from keyword deficiency, all right? The search engine is triggered off of keywords. And the best place to find the keywords for you? Go look at job postings that you're sure you'd be good for, right? And they could be on LinkedIn or they could be on any other website. You say, this is a good job for me, this is a good job for me, this is a good job for me. And look at the words. Because the people who wrote those job postings, guess what? They're the same people that are going to go to LinkedIn and go, expecting you to match. So if they got keywords throughout their job posting, and you don't have that word, you'll never be in their list, will you? Right? So that's the simplest place. Find a match for jobs, and then you can, and the keyword's not the or and, the keyword is email, PR, press releases, right? Social media, and I'm talking to marketing. Accounting could be international accounting. All the acronyms that people use, the stuff that you see in that worksheet. Work hard at that. Trust me, that's the way you're going to get found because we're all lazy. And HR people are just as lazy or call it efficient. Their efficiency says, well, I want this. And people in Milwaukee, zip code Milwaukee, up comes a list. Oh, there's a nice list. I think I'll work that list. I'm not going to go past that. Look at this huge list I got. And it's the people that put the keywords in their profile, especially in the right spots as I've listed them on those bullet points. Some spots are better than others. Now I'll show one of the best spots on your profile is your headline. Okay, and I've got a tool on my website. My website this is my website, powerformula.net. You'll want to write that down. And then go in here to the free resources, and click Guides and Worksheets. And you'll see the guides and worksheets that are all available, PDF files for you to grab and use. That's the one we're looking at right now. So if you want some more copies of that, you can get it. But be sure to grab this one, the definitive worksheet to optimize your LinkedIn profile headline. And I've got a whole page of great examples of headlines in your profile, for your profile. Great examples. And from all those examples, I know you have no trouble doing yours. Headline's an important spot. That will help you a whole bunch, okay? And all the rest of these things are all free downloads. There's one here for Red Hot LinkedIn tips for job seekers. But go grab anything there that you find interesting. But that headline worksheet's going to help you a ton. Okay. All right. So here's the deal on your profile. Lots of keywords, lots of stories. Just a little bit more on stories. Here's the deal. Print your profile out. Okay? Put it on the table. Go look at some other profiles that come up with people in your industry. Print them out. Print some good ones out. Put them on a table and go look at them. And try to act like you're a recruiter. Right? Are you impressive? Do it just like them. See, what you got to do is you got to sort of peel back the onion and act like them and go, I guess I ain't so impressive, right? Or I stand really tall. Look at that. Boy, I think I'd be great in that group, right? So that's what you got to do is just test yourself. Or ask a friend. Ask a friend to do it. Say, do I look as good as her? She's got a job. I don't. You can also find lots of keywords in people that have the jobs. Job postings and other people who are already in the positions that you'd like to have. Same thing, right? Okay, so what we have to do on this keyword thing, maybe this is the problem. We have to brag. And we weren't brought up bragging, right? It doesn't feel right to us. I know my mom slapped my hands and get to your room. We don't brag in this house. What are you doing? That was those days. We now have to put our best foot forward, and our profile's got to say, I'm good. I dare you to interview me. With that kind of confidence, right? Because if it doesn't say it, then they won't believe it. So you got to believe it first, and then secondly, you got to tell me. You got to just explain and flush out the things you accomplish. And some of the stories that you're going to put on your profile are told to you by are mentioned. Other people tell your story, and what are those called on LinkedIn? Other people telling your story. Two ways. That's one. What was that? Endorsements. Those two spots. That's other people telling your stories. How do you get recommendations? Ask. Is it hard work? No. It's work. You should get 2 recommendations for every job that you have. Why? Because 2 show up there, right? It says see more, but 2 on every job. If you have 2 on every job, it looks to me like, whoa, look at her. Every job, she got 2 people liking on her. Let me share this with you. Last summer, I was speaking at a SHRM conference. You know what SHRM is? Society of Human Resource Management, right? These are the recruiters. And I asked them after the event, I said, you can help me now, I just helped you. First question, let's say there's a paper shortage. Are you going to look at somebody's profile or their resume? Every hand in the audience, guess what it was? Profile. It's just juicier. Let's face it, it's just juicier. Number 2 question, what's your favorite section to look at on a profile? After you see they got the technical stuff you want. Recommendations. I said, really? I love to see what other people say about you. People. So how do you get recommendations? You got to ask. And you just don't ask. You know how you do it? You call your friend. Will you write me a recommendation? This guy shook me up the other night at Elmbrook. I'm going to do it. Would you do that for me? Sure. I'll send you an email. Thanks. Send the email. Thanks for agreeing to write a recommendation for me. And just to save you some time, you can cut and paste. You can get started with this paragraph. Number 1, you just saved him time, right? Number 2, is that a good recommendation? If it ain't good, it's your problem. You wrote it, and it's got keywords in it? Yes. It's perfect. And you'll get it. You'll get more of them. Is that wrong? Is that wrong? It won't do anything that's not true. You remember what you did better than they remember. They probably were supervising 6 other people, right? So you write a nice recommendation, you send it to your friend. And you might not get everyone, but here, your bosses, yes, try to get those. Co-workers, they're fine. They're not as good as bosses, but a co-worker is a customer, a supplier, somebody else you had to relate, right? So don't tell me you can't get them. You might not be able to get it from your boss. But all those other people could still vouch about the things you did and how you followed through and all, right? The things that you know you did well. Those are going to be critical. That's stories again, right? We're back to stories. You have to impress me. Okay, cool. So, keywords and stories, get working on your profile. That's all I'm going to say on the profile. Maybe I'll touch on it along the way, but because I got to get to these other things. Number two item. Find and connect with people at your target company in the department you want to work for. So let me give you an example of that. And how do you do that? So you do it like this. Let's say you go to LinkedIn and you want to work, well, let me start with this. You got a list in your pocket of the companies you like to work for? Could you pull it right out on the table here? Can everybody pull their list out? Right on the table? I'm just kidding. Good. But I'll bet you there's a bunch of people in this room that don't have that. If you don't have that, that's a problem. You got to at least know where you'd like to work, right? Otherwise, where are you going, right? You said, oh, somebody will call me. No, you got to have that list, just like that. Okay, so once you got your list, what do? Let's do a little searching. Here's how you do it. You go to Advanced. I'm on the paid account, by the way. We could talk about that in Q&A. You'll get this page when you're on the free account. Click Advanced up in the top. Make sure all 4 of these boxes are checked. And let's say I want a job in the marketing department. Marketing. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do it this way. See what happens. Marketing at Johnson Controls. Because they're on your list. Current. And in Milwaukee. Okay. 208 people come up. There's 208 people in the marketing department at Johnson Controls in Milwaukee. I want you to make some friends. That's what you should be doing here. You need to make some friends with these people. Why? Because they're working in the cubicle right next to the one that's got your name on it. Right? At least you hope so. So how do you make a friend? You make a friend like this. Okay, there's Christine Fuel. She's the Vice President of Global Marketing. Ooh, I like that title. That's a goodie. Doesn't say intern. She's way at the top. So how do I make a friend with Christine Fuel? Here's how I make a friend with her. I click on Shared Connections. Who are these people? Who are those people?
People you know.
People I know. Do they know her?
Yeah.
Not maybe.
Yes.
Right? They know me. They're friends with me. They're friends with her. Now, what do?
Can you introduce her?
Hey, Alex, how are you? Good, Wayne. What's going on? You really know Christine? Well, Wayne, you know I work at Johnson Controls. She's a nice lady. Why? What do you want? You know I'm looking for a job in marketing. That's one on the target. Could you help me? Yeah, what do you want? I want to meet her. How do you want to do that? Well, you tell me. Should I send you some stuff and you'll send it to her? What do you want me to do? Or could I just use your name in my connection request on LinkedIn? That's what you could do too. You could, and if Alex says, yeah, do that. Go ahead. Then your connection request doesn't say, I'd like you to join my network on LinkedIn. Let's all agree that's disrespectful. Right? That standard invitation, which you probably sent out 10 of them in the last week. I'd like you to join my network. I shouldn't accept it from you. Now, if it's your college friend, who cares? But somebody like her, you send me that, I go, huh? You like the what? With me? You don't even know me. You didn't have the respect to say, I talked to Alex Runner. He suggested we should talk. I am looking for a marketing position and thought a lot about your company. Would like to talk about it, period. In the meantime, I'd be honored to have you join my network. Now, Christine may not want you in her network, right? It's her network. She does whatever she wants. But she'll read that, won't she? Will you get her attention? For a little bit, right? You got her attention. It's in her inbox. She at least has to read it. And what do you hope that she does next? Looks at your what? Boy, I hope your profile's in better shape. Right? Because if you send her there, and it looks like just a resume, huh? What? But if you send her there and it looks good, with lots of stories, woo! Alex said that? Hey, Alex, is she any good? I looked at her profile. We are looking. That's pretty interesting. So she may not accept your request, but she might. And if you get her, and I'll just look at her profile and see if I think she'd accept. And always if you can work the friend in between, that's helpful. But I got to tell you this. I think you're in good shape with Christine. I think you're in great shape with Christine if you write the right invitation. Not, I'd like you to join my network on LinkedIn. But if you do something professional and with respect and drop Alex's name, I'm pretty sure she'll accept. Why? What's on the screen that tells me that?
She has over 500.
Yeah, she has over 500 connections. What does that tell you about her?
Not too choosy.
She likes LinkedIn. She's a networker. She doesn't sit in the corner and go, oh, I'm not connected with anybody. I got these 85 connections and nobody gets into this place. It's protected. No, she's the opposite. She's a networker for whatever her purpose is. I don't know what her purpose is, but I know you're probably in pretty good shape, especially if you drop Alex's name and they are truly friends. But the bottom line, even if she doesn't connect, you got in front of her, didn't you? Now, let's say she connects. I have no first degree connections in the marketing department at Johnson Controls, I don't think. Let's see. By the way, when you do this search, you'll get 208 people too. Everybody in this room gets 208 people. It's a finite number. It's just a database. And I got one person at the first degree. Okay. But I'll tell you what, if old Christine says yes to me, guess what I got? A mole. I got a mole. And you know what that does? Do you think a whole bunch of other people move up to the second degree because I got Christine? How am I so sure of that? Because people connect with who at work? Their coworker. So your little mole brought all these other people closer, and now almost everybody in that department is a second degree. And when they're a second degree, you can see full profiles on the free account. At third degree, you don't get to see everything, and it's, oh, I can't see her, she's third degree, I don't pay something, oh, I don't pay, so it doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work because you don't have enough connections in the right places. Not because it doesn't work, it's because you haven't taken the first step to go, I want to work at Johnson Controls in the marketing department. And I'm going to do what I can to get in front of as many people in that department as I can, especially if I answer the job ad. If you answer the job ad, that one's a no-brainer. Okay? So the idea is, it works well, but you got to get some more connections in the right places. That's what this step is for. This step is for you to proactively add connections in the right companies, in the right department that you want to work for. Realizing that if she says no, or doesn't even answer you, it's going to hurt your feelings. Sit in the corner and sort of cry for half a day or something. I mean, right? It's no big deal. There's 208 people on this list. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. But don't try to connect with people that have 14 connections. They don't even know their password. That's the big secret. Forget them. But her, you're in good shape with her, especially if you use your friend in between. Right? Now, let me ask you this. How many of you have applied for a job in the last month? Good. Congratulations. Good. I hope the first step after pushing apply, you prayed. Okay? That should be your first step. Your second step ought to be to go in here. I think I already got the search done. Not that one. This one. That's not either. Yeah. Your second step, go in here and search for human resources or HR at Johnson Controls and see if you can make some inroads with that department. Why? Because that department's sitting on the 300 resumes until they get to the marketing department, right? They don't go to marketing right away. HR's got it, big companies especially, right? We got to go through, we got to go testing and all, and then we hand 10 people over to marketing and say, these are your best 10 out of the 300. But what can you do in the meantime? You go here to the search engine and you go down this list and go, well, I got a bunch of second degrees. Hey, Jeff, how are you? Good, Wayne, what's going on? You know April? April Hackett? Sure. She's on my LinkedIn. You saw her? Yeah. Can you help me? Sure. You're my friend and she's my friend. What do you want? I applied for the job. Can I send you my stuff? And you'll send it on to your friend? Did you do that? Did you do that after you applied? Step number 2. Here's what's beginning to happen, my friends. You didn't do that, but somebody else in this room did. And they worked the relationship. They leveraged the relationship. That's what LinkedIn is all about, leveraging relationships that you already have. But it takes, hi, Jeff, I don't know April. Too bad. She's on your LinkedIn. I don't know. Bye. Hey, David, how are you? Doing fine. What's going on? Know April? Yes, I know April. Can you help me? She's your friend. I'm your friend. I got to get there. And that's how you got to treat this thing. You got to be passionate and go, but you got to use the tool. This tool is a beauty, right? I mean, my gosh, who would have ever known? You could have played golf with Jeff every week all summer long and never found out he knew April, right? What are the odds? But with LinkedIn, we can see who people know. And you know what? The town just got pretty small, didn't it? The town got smaller because we can see who people know. But then we just can't leave it lay there and go, well, I see a friend knows her, so maybe something will happen because I see it. It's there. The relationship exists. No, you have to leverage that relationship. You have to take the step and go, I do have a friend that might help me get this thing done. Right? Because if April walks into the office where all the marketing applications are, and she goes, hey, is there an application in for such and such in that pile? And the person that's doing the recruiting goes, I don't know. Well, I just got off the phone with my friend. And she said that this lady's really good. So if she is, we should interview her. Now, the person that's in charge of the stack of 300, is she mad that April walked in and tried to help her put somebody in the maybe pile? Just the opposite, right? Is her day going to go quicker? Trust me, she had to find 10 people for the maybe pile. And somebody rolled in and said, I can vouch for this person. Guess what that lady has? She can take a longer smoky break. Yeah, because now she's got 1 out of the 10 in the pile. So, today's going to go pretty good. I got this extra time. I would have had to find number 10 in that stack. She's not mad. Her job is to get 10, so then the next day she gets another stack of 300. That's what they do, right? She wants help. And if she can get a referral, that's what that is. It's really a referral, isn't it? A friend said you can vouch for this person, they're good. They're looking for that kind of information, right? Okay, cool. That's the search engine, and that's you trying to get in front of people. Now, I can tell you a story about connecting with people at the right places. 2 or 3 years ago, I can't remember which one, right over there, guy sat. Andy Maris, I'll never forget it. Andy Maris sat over there, we talked about this step, connecting with people at the companies you want to work for. He left this place, and he started doing just that. And he started connecting at a place called MRA, out in Pewaukee. He's a trainer guy. And he connected with a bunch of the people out at MRA. And then because then he also did this step number 5, sharing status updates, these people from MRA started seeing his face pop up every day. Because every day he posted a status update about training and things he was reading. So pretty soon, he became a little bit of a rock star with a whole bunch of people at MRA. So when a job popped, so this was November, February they posted a job he was perfect for. He answered that ad. Guess what happened? All of a sudden, all these people that think they know him really well, he applied. Andy Maris. You're kidding me. And he had never met any of these ladies. Happened to all be ladies, all. But he was connected with them, and then he did the right thing by sharing, and they just started to get to know him virtually. So that when his application came in, it was like, whoa, Andy Maris. Okay? This is how this thing can be worked. But it starts with the list, and then working the list. Realizing nobody's going to hurt you. There's no physical hurt that will take place if people don't connect with you, right? If you do it professionally with a nice message, then you know you can with a straight face go, you know what? I treated her professionally. I sent her a nice invitation. She chose not to. It's her network. She could do what she wanted. I'm not going to hold that against her. But many people will, and at a minimum, you'll get their attention, right? Yeah, so here's what we're going to do. We will take a break. It's 8 o'clock. We're going to stick to 10 minutes, okay? Yeah, okay. I got so much to do. So at 8:10, we will reconvene.